Let me paint you a picture. Two creators, same niche, same platform. Creator 1 has 80,000 followers and Creator 2 has 12,000. And a brand reaches out to them and they choose Creator 2. And Creator 1 is sitting there completely confused. Wait, I have more followers, we have similar content, and we put in similar effort. Why exactly did the brand go the other way? This happens more than most people realize. And it happens because most creators have been chasing the wrong thing. They've been optimizing for a number that brands, the ones worth working with anyway, have stopped using as their primary filter. And today we're going into exactly what brands are actually looking at. And by the end of this episode, you're going to understand not just what those things are, but how to build towards them intentionally. Hi guys, my name is Omobolaji Ajibari. I am your social media manager's favorite social media manager. I am a creator economy strategist and educator. And on this channel, I break down what it actually takes to grow, position yourself, and make money as a creator or social media manager without all the noise that you see online. So let's get into it. Let's talk about why follower count is the wrong metric to chase. Yes, I said it. It is the wrong metric to chase. Let's start here because I think that understanding why follower count has become less important to brands is the foundation for understanding everything else. Follower count was never a measure of your influence. It was always a measure of your reach potential. And for a long time, those two things were close enough to mean the same thing that it did not matter much. So if you had a lot of followers, brands assumed that you had influence. They assumed those followers were real, engaged, and responsive. Assumed that when they put their product in front of your audience, it meant something. And then the industry that we know it's mature. Brands started running campaigns and they started not seeing the results that they expected. Creators with hundreds of thousands of followers were delivering poor conversion. Audiences that actually looked impressive on paper were not buying, they were not clicking, they were not responding. And brands started to ask the other question and they started to look behind the number. And what they found changed how the smartest brands approach creator partnerships entirely. Right now, follower count is now a starting point at its best. It is a context clue. It tells a brand roughly what kind of reach is possible on your page, but nothing about whether that reach will actually mean anything for their campaign. What they want to know now is much more specific, and that is what it is that they are getting into. That's what brands want to know. So the metric one I will tell you that brands are looking at is your engagement rate, because engagement rate is one of those metrics that actually sounds simple but has a lot of nuance underneath it. Engagement rate, as in most basic, is the percentage of your audience that is actively interacting with your content. Things like likes, comments, shares, saves, divided by your follower count or your reach, depending on how it is being calculated. But here is what most creators do not understand. Engagement rate benchmarks are not universal. They vary significantly by platform, by niche, by audience size, and by content format. A 3% engagement rate means something different on a page with 500,000 followers than it does on a page with 10,000. Generally speaking, and these are rough benchmarks, they are not admirals, an engagement rate above 3% is considered healthy for most platforms. Above 5% is strong, above 8% is exceptional. But a creator with 50,000 followers and a 2% engagement rate may actually be more valuable to a brand than a creator with 200,000 followers and a 0.5% engagement rate. Because here is what a low engagement rate tells a brand. It tells them that either the audience is not real, which is a red flag for that particular creator or for obvious reasons, or that the audience is real but completely disengaged from that creator. And an audience that is not paying attention to you is not going to buy anything. So why is a brand spending money on you? But there's something even more important than the overall engagement rate number, and that is the quality of the engagement. A lot of brands, like the sophisticated ones, they are looking at the comments, not the number of comments, the content of them and what people are saying. Are people asking questions? Are they sharing personal experiences related to that topic? Are they tagging their friends? Are they just saying things like, oh, I needed to hear this. Oh, I just bought this because of your recommendation. Are they saying things like that? Those are the signals of a deeply engaged, trusting audience. And that is the kind of engagement that converts. That's the kind of engagement that brands are looking for. They are not looking for generic comments, fire emoji, like they want to burn down your page. They're not looking for things that says great post. Those inflate your engagement number without actually telling a brand anything useful. before. And increasingly, brands are starting to get wise. I don't know if they were foolish before, but brands know the difference. So when you are thinking about engagement, think about what your audience is actually saying. Are they actually engaging with your content, or are they just acknowledging your content? Because that distinction matters enormously when you want to work with any brand. The metric number 2 that I think a lot of brands look at is audience demographics. And this is where a lot of creators completely underestimate their own value, or maybe overestimate it. And here's the reality. A brand does not want to assess your audience. They want access to a specific type of person within your audience. Yes. A brand does not want access to your audience. They want access to a specific type of person within your audience. And if your audience is predominantly that right type of person, maybe the right age range, the right location, the right interest, the right chasing behavior, then your platform, your account becomes incredibly valuable to them, regardless of the number of followers you have. Let me give you a real scenario. Sustainable, why do I always use sustainable? A sustainable skincare brand is looking for creator partners, and they have a clear customer profile. They want women between 25 to 40 that are interested in clean beauty and wellness. And these women will have disposable income and a history of making conscious purchasing decisions. Now, Creator One has 150,000 followers, has a broad lifestyle audience, mix of all ages, interests, locations. About 20% of our audience matches the brand's customer profile. Whereas Creator 2 has 18,000 followers, specifically focused on sustainable living and conscious consumption. And our audience skews heavily towards women in that exact same range that the brand is targeting in the locations that the brand ships to, with demonstrated interest in the exact category that the brand operates in. Which creator do you think would deliver more value to the skincare brand? Creator 2, of course, every single time. Because the brand is not paying for reach. They are paying for access to the right people. And Creator 2's audience is more densely packed with the right people, even though the total number is smaller than Creator 1. This is why understanding your audience demography is not optional. If you want to work with brands seriously, you need to know who is actually in your audience. You need to know what their age range are, their locations are, what their interests are beyond your content. You need to understand what their purchasing behavior is if you can access it. Because that information is what you are selling to the brand. You're not selling them your follower count. And the way you attract the right audience demographics is through strategic consistency in your messaging. When you are clear about who you are and you're specific about who it is that you speak to and what you speak about, you naturally attract people who fit that profile. And that clarity is ultimately what makes your platform attractive to brands whose customer matches your audience. Metric 3 that brands are always looking at for is your content. Yes, they look at your content, specifically the quality of your content and the alignment. And when I say the quality, I don't just mean the production value alone, the overall impression that your content creates. Does it look like something a brand will want to be associated with? Does the way you present yourself, your ideas, your recommendation, does it reflect a standard that the brand can trust? Because when a brand partners with you, your content becomes an extension of that brand. If your content is inconsistent in quality, maybe it's sometimes polished, sometimes careless, that inconsistency becomes a risk, and the brand needs to ask themselves, are they ready to take it? Which they might not. This is why brands don't just look at your recent post. They scroll, they go back, they look at the pattern of what you have put out over time, and they're trying to understand not just what it is that you create, but who you are as a creator, and whether that is someone that they want to stake their brand's reputation on. Brand alignment is the other side of this, and it is more specific than just clean content. And let me tell you why I know all of this. I worked as a creator ambassador lead for 7 months, and these are the things that I did. That's why I'm very knowledgeable about this now. Brand alignment is about whether your positioning, your audience, your values, and your aesthetics are genuinely compatible with what that brand stands for. That is what alignment is. And this is why building a clear, consistent, creative identity is not just about growing your audience. It is about becoming the kind of creator that specific brands naturally want to work with. When your positioning is clear, the right brand partnerships become obvious because there is a genuine alignment, and that alignment is what produces campaigns that actually work. which means brands come back, and that is where the real income starts to build. The fourth metric that brands look at is the conversion ability and the audience trust. And this is the metric that separates creators who get one-off deals from creators who get long-term partnership. And I think it is one of the most hardest metric to fake. Conversion ability is your audience willingness to act on your recommendations. Can your audience buy what you suggest? Can they click on the link? Can they use the code? Can they try the product? Can they trust what it is that you say? The conversion ability is entirely built around your audience trust, which means it is slowly built over time through consistent, honest, and genuine recommendations. So if you are not honest, if you don't give genuine recommendations, your audience will not convert. Brands know this. They have the data. They can look at their previous campaigns. They can look at their affiliate link performance, their promo code usage, and see exactly which creators drove actual purchasing power or purchasing behavior and which ones just drove impressions. And the creators who just drove behavior or purchasing behavior are the ones that they will call back. They won't want the ones that are just talking about it. Brands want conversion. They're putting money down for all of this. Now, how do you pitch to brands without a huge following? Let's get practical, because everything we've talked about so far is the foundation. But if you don't know how to communicate to a brand, it doesn't fully translate into opportunities. And here is how I think about pitching when it comes to brand, when your following is not big, but your positioning is strong. The first thing that you need to do is be clear about what it is that you actually offer. Be clear about your audience, a specific type of person in a specific content with specific interest and purchasing behavior. And this is what you lead with. You talk about, oh, my audience is primarily maybe social media managers and content creators between age 25 and 35. They're based in the UK and the US, and they're actively investing in their professional development. That sentence tells brands more than, oh, I have 20,000 followers. The second thing is evidence. You need to have screenshots of your audience feedback, examples of content that drove responses, affiliate link data if you have any, promo code performance from previous partnerships, comments where your audience explicitly mentions buying something because you recommended it. Those things will put you inside the door more. The third thing you need is alignment. Before you pitch to a brand, I want you to understand what their core campaigns are, their customer profile, what their brand values are, and make your pitch specific to that. Don't make it a generic, oh, I would love to work with you email. Make it specific to that particular campaign. A specific considered proposal that shows that you understand their brand and you have thought about why your audience is genuinely right for them. And the fourth thing is your media kit. And this is where your media kit comes in. Now, what is your media kit? Your media kit is more like your brand CV. It is a document that a brand looks at when they are deciding whether to take the conversation further with you. And it needs to do one job. It needs to make the case of why working with you is a smart investment for the brand. Here's what a strong media kit includes. Things like a clear introduction, who you are, what you do, who you serve, what are the platforms that you stand for. It's not your life story. Your key metrics, things like your follower count across platforms, but most importantly, your engagement rate, your average reach, then your audience insights, a breakdown of who your audience actually is, the age range, the gender splits, the top locations, and all of that. Your content examples, like your best work, specifically examples that are relevant to the brand that you're pitching to. If you're pitching to a tech brand, lead with your tech content. Show them what a partnership could look like. Then also previous partnerships. If you worked with brands before, include them, include the brand name, and packages and rates. Some creators put their rates, some people leave it out, depending on what you want. It's a valid approach, but if you include it, be confident in your pricing, because if you underprice, trust me, it will signal to the brand that you don't know your value, and brands always notice that. Trust me, I've been there, done that. And the overall design and presentation of your media kit actually matters too. It doesn't need to be elaborate, but it needs to be clean, it needs to be professional, because a brand is looking at your media kit and asking, is this the quality of the work I want to associate my products with? Make sure that the answer they get is yes. So let me bring this home, and this is where I am going to land. Brands, the ones that are worth working with, are not looking for the biggest number. They are looking for the right fit, the right audience, the right engagement, the right level of trust, the right positioning. And all of those things are available to you at any follower count if you build with intention. A creator with 12,000 deep engaged followers in a specific niche with clear positioning, genuine audience trust, and a professional media kit will outperform a creator with 80,000 followers that are not focused. Because a brand is not just buying number, they are buying access to an audience that will actually respond. So I'll tell you to stop chasing the follower count as if it is the thing that unlocks brand deals. I want you to start building the things that actually matter, things like engagement, authority, trust, alignment, and so on. Because when you can articulate that value clearly and you can back it up with evidence, the follower count becomes one data point in a much stronger conversation. It's not the headline, it's not the whole story, it is just a number. And that is where I land in today's episode. So if you are a creator that is working towards brand deals, or you are already in them and you want to understand how to position yourself for better ones, drop a comment, tell me where you are in the process. I genuinely want to know. I can help you because I've worked with a lot of creators, and share this with somebody who needs to hear this. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because this is exactly the level of conversation we have in every single episode. And don't forget, my name is Mobalaji Ajibari, your social media manager's favorite social media manager, and I will see you in the next one.